We're gathered here to celebrate the life of Billy Brian Brown. He was a true friend, husband, father, and grandfather. He was a dedicated disciple of Jesus. He believed in Christ, he believed in his resurrection.
They lived off the grid, hunted for survival, and built a family legacy in the harsh wilderness of Alaska. For years, Alaskan Bush People showed viewers what it meant to live by your own rules. But today, their world looks very different. From heartbreaking losses, new beginnings, scandals, and struggles. Where are the stars of Alaskan Bush People now?
Anything that happened to Billy Brown, he wanted the world to know that he could survive because the Lord would carry him through. Amen.
Amen.
The truth may surprise you. Since its premiere in 2014, Alaskan Bush People has captivated millions with the story of the Brown family, a group who chose to live deep in the wilderness, far away from modern conveniences. Known as the Wolfpack, Billy and Amy Brown raised their 7 children to rely on the land, their wits, and each other. But as the years went on, the family's journey became more complicated. Fame, health crises, and family divisions tested the very values they once stood for. The Browns moved from Alaska to Washington, endured financial and legal controversies, and faced the devastating loss of their patriarch, Billy. So, after years of reality TV fame, what happened to the Brown family? And where are they now?
This celebration is not only helping to honor Billy, but it is a time where we as a family together can grieve. You keep them with you by laughing about the good times and the funny times and the mishaps and even the hard times.
Billy Brown. Billy Brown was the driving force behind Alaskan Bush People. Born in Texas, he chose a life away from society, building a family legacy in the Alaskan wilderness. With his rugged determination and charismatic leadership, Billy became the face of the show. But life off the grid wasn't easy. Over the years, Billy faced legal battles related to residency claims in Alaska, accusations that parts of the show were staged, and even health problems that grew more serious with time. His heart condition worsened, forcing the family to move closer to medical care in Washington state. In February 2021, tragedy struck. Billy Brown died at the age of 68 after suffering a seizure at the family's Washington home. His death was not just a devastating blow to the family, but to the millions of fans who had followed his journey for years. The question then became, without Billy, how would the Brown family move forward? Amy Brown. After Billy's passing, Amy Brown stepped into a new role, the matriarch of the Wolfpack. Her life had already been marked by incredible challenges. In 2017, Amy was diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer and given only a 3% chance of survival. For months, she underwent aggressive treatment in Los Angeles. Against all odds, Amy went into remission, and her survival became one of the most emotional storylines of the show. Today, Amy continues to be the glue holding the family together. Living on the family's Washington property, she has taken on more responsibility, guiding her children through the grief of losing Billy. Fans often see her as the quiet strength of the family, resilient, compassionate, and deeply devoted to her children. But even with her survival and leadership, Amy has faced criticism. Some fans question whether the family's life is as off-grid as the show portrays, while others have criticized decisions made after Billy's death. Still, Amy remains a central figure in the family's legacy. But what about the children? The 7 Brown kids who grew up in the wilderness under Billy and Amy's watchful eyes. Matt Brown. The eldest Brown sibling, Matt Brown, has had one of the most turbulent journeys of all. As the oldest of 7, Matt was once seen as the natural leader of the Wolfpack, a hard worker with a big personality. But fame and the pressures of reality TV took a heavy toll. Behind the scenes, Matt struggled with alcoholism. His addiction worsened over time, leading to several stints in rehab. By 2018, tensions with his family had reached a breaking point. Matt left the show altogether, creating distance between himself and the rest of the Browns. For years, fans worried about him. He lived apart from the family, largely estranged, and his absence was felt on Alaskan Bush People. Rumors swirled about feuds with his father Billy and unresolved conflicts with his siblings. But in recent years, Matt has been on a journey of recovery. Through social media, he shares his story of sobriety, healing, and rebuilding his life. He works on a farm, speaks openly about his past struggles, and inspires fans with his honesty. Still, the question remains, will Matt ever fully reconcile with the rest of the Wolfpack? Or is his life destined to remain separate from the show that made his family famous? Bam Bam Brown. Joshua Bam Bam Brown, the second oldest, has always been one of the quieter, more serious members of the family. While his siblings embraced the adventurous chaos of bush life, Bam often seemed more grounded and pragmatic. In 2016, Bam made headlines when he stepped away from the show to pursue a relationship with Allison Kagan, a former producer on Alaskan Bush People. The move surprised fans, as Bam had always kept his personal life private. Together, the couple purchased a boat and began restoring it, with dreams of living on the water. Though Bam eventually returned to the show, he's remained a more background figure compared to some of his siblings. He prefers a lower profile, focusing on his relationship and life away from the constant drama that often surrounds the Browns. Still, Bam's presence in the family is significant. He was deeply affected by Billy's death, and though he doesn't always take center stage, his loyalty to the Wolfpack has never wavered. But what about the more outspoken siblings, like Bear Brown, whose wild personality has often made headlines both on and off the show? Bear Brown. If there's one member of the Wolfpack who has fully embraced the spotlight, it's Bear Brown. Known for his high-energy antics, extreme stunts, and larger-than-life personality, Bear quickly became one of the most recognizable stars of Alaskan Bush People. Fans either loved his wild spirit or questioned whether it was sustainable. But behind the excitement, Bear's life has been anything but smooth. His relationship with Raven Adams has been rocky and very public. The two have broken up and reconciled multiple times, often making headlines for their on-again, off-again dynamic. They share a son, River, and their custody battles, reconciliations, and disputes have played out both in court and in the media. Bear has also faced legal troubles, including an arrest in 2022 on domestic violence charges, though the case was later dismissed. For fans, the incident was yet another reminder that life for the Browns is often far messier than the image presented on television. Despite the turmoil, Bear has remained dedicated to his family and continues to appear on the show. His chaotic lifestyle may raise eyebrows, but his loyalty to his mother, Ami, and his determination to be part of his son's life show another side of him. Still, with so many ups and downs, fans can't help but wonder, can Bear ever find lasting stability, or will his wild ride continue indefinitely? Gabe and Noah Brown. While Bear's life has been filled with drama, his brothers Gabe and Noah Brown have focused on building quieter, more traditional lives. Gabe Brown, the third son, married Raquel Rose in 2019. Together, they've built a family, welcoming daughters while continuing to live close to the Wolfpack. Gabe has often been portrayed as a supportive and loving husband and father, balancing the demands of family life with his loyalty to Ami and the rest of his siblings. Though less flamboyant than Bear, Gabe's steady presence provides a counterbalance to the chaos that sometimes defines the Browns. Noah Brown, the youngest son, has also built a family of his own. He married Rain Alicia in 2018, and the couple has 2 sons. Noah has pursued interests in engineering and homesteading, often showing off his inventions and problem-solving skills. He's carved out a niche as one of the more practical and creative members of the family, determined to create a sustainable life for his wife and children. But life for Gabe and Noah hasn't been without controversy. Both have faced online criticism from fans, with some questioning their choices or accusing them of stepping away from the Bush values that once defined the family. Still, they've remained committed to their roles as fathers and husbands, proving that even in the spotlight, it's possible to prioritize family first. The Brown brothers may be carving out their own futures, but what about the sisters of the Wolfpack, Snowbird and Rain? Their stories reveal another side of the Brown family's journey. Snowbird Brown. Unlike her louder and wilder brothers, Amora, Snowbird Brown, known simply as Birdie, has always lived a quieter, more reserved life. From the beginning, fans saw her as the independent, strong-willed daughter who preferred working with animals and living simply in the wilderness. But beneath that quiet strength, Birdie has faced her own challenges. After Billy's death, she stepped into a more mature role, helping her mother Ami while also caring for her younger siblings. At the same time, she's dealt with serious health struggles. Birdie has had ovarian cysts, which not only caused her pain, but raised concerns about her long-term health and her ability to one day have children. These struggles were revealed on the show, where Birdie bravely opened up about the physical and emotional toll they've taken. Fans praised her courage for being so vulnerable, but many also worried about how much she was keeping bottled inside. Today, Snowbird remains close to Ami, helping maintain the family property in Washington. She hasn't sought the spotlight the way some of her brothers have, and she rarely posts on social media. For fans, she represents the original spirit of Alaskan Bush People, someone who values simplicity, family, and life away from modern distractions. But with her health challenges and the constant pull of fame around her family, fans can't help but wonder, will Birdie continue living quietly in the background, or will her story one day take a dramatic new turn? Rain Brown. As the youngest of the Brown siblings, Merry Christmas, Catherine Raindrop Brown, better known as Rain, grew up in front of millions of viewers. When the show began, she was just a child. Over the years, fans watched her transition from a playful little girl into a young woman. But that journey hasn't been easy. Rain has been candid about her struggles with mental health. She has spoken openly about experiencing depression, particularly after her father's death in 2021. Losing Billy at such a young age hit her hard, and she admitted to feeling lost and overwhelmed in the aftermath. On social media, Rain has shared glimpses of her emotional battles, encouraging others to speak openly about mental health. At the same time, she's faced the unique pressures of growing up on reality TV, criticism from strangers, constant comparisons to her siblings, and the challenge of figuring out her own identity under the public eye. Despite these challenges, Rain has shown resilience. She's embraced music, photography, and creative pursuits, carving out her own space in the world. And while she remains part of the Wolfpack, her story is also one of independence, a young woman trying to define herself while still staying true to her family. But as Rain continues to grow into adulthood, one question lingers. Can she escape the shadow of reality TV and build her own future beyond the cameras? Billy Brown. When Billy Brown died in 2021, it wasn't just the loss of a father. It was the loss of the anchor that had kept the Wolfpack together. Billy had been the visionary, the leader, the man who insisted the family live by their own rules in the wild. Without him, many wondered, could the Browns survive both as a family and as a television phenomenon? In the years since his passing, the family has struggled to fill that void. Ami stepped up as matriarch, but her role has been more about nurturing and holding the family together than driving new adventures. The children, meanwhile, have each pursued their own paths. From Bear's chaotic family life, to Gabe and Noah raising their own children, to Birdie and Rain focusing on personal growth. What's clear is that the Browns are no longer the same unified wolf pack they once were. Each sibling has taken on their own priorities, and their time together on the show feels less about one family mission and more about individual storylines. Yet despite the cracks, fans continue to tune in. Why? Because the Browns' journey, with all its triumphs and tragedies, still feels real. They may not live deep in Alaska anymore, but they remain a family defined by resilience. The question is, will they continue to stand united, or will the loss of their patriarch eventually scatter them for good? The Browns' legacy today. Today, the Brown family continues to appear on Alaskan Bush People, but the show feels very different from its early days. What once began as a portrait of life in the Alaskan wilderness has evolved into a story about resilience, grief, and survival in a changing world. Each sibling has taken their own path, some embracing family life, others chasing wild adventures, and a few struggling to find their footing. Ami remains at the heart of it all, carrying forward Billy's dream while adapting to the realities of life in Washington state. The Browns' story isn't just about living off the land anymore. It's about what happens when a family is tested by loss, fame, and the passage of time. For fans, the Wolfpack remains a symbol of survival, even if their version of bush life looks different today. But the legacy of Alaskan Bush People goes beyond television. It's a story of how one family, against all odds, turned their unconventional way of life into a cultural phenomenon. The Brown family of Alaskan Bush People captured the world's imagination with their rugged independence and unbreakable bond. But behind the scenes, their story has been filled with heartbreak, controversy, and change. From Ami's miraculous recovery to Billy's tragic passing, from Matt's fight for sobriety to Rain's struggles with growing up in the spotlight, the Browns have shown us that survival isn't just about the wilderness. It's about surviving life itself. Their story reminds us that families are complicated, that legacies are fragile, and that even the strongest bonds can be tested by time and tragedy. Yet through it all, the Wolfpack endures. So what do you think? Has the Brown family managed to keep Billy's dream alive, or has the price of fame changed them forever? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories from the world of reality television. Because in the end, the true wilderness isn't always in Alaska. Sometimes it's within the lives we build when the cameras stop rolling.